Hey guys, Dave with Moneyology here. Thanks for tuning in to the Uranium Sector Review for May 26, 2019. It's Memorial Day weekend here in the United States, and I want to tip my hat and salute all the service members, both past and present, for their sacrifices to our country, to our freedom. Thank you very much. This is the Uranium Sector Review, and so what we do here is we take a look at the charts from a longer term perspective, and we'll start here with Uranium Participation Corp, which is basically tracks the price of uranium. This is from a monthly chart here, and notice, and this is something that I've been pointing out in past videos, we broke down below the 50 RSI, and it was very important that we maintain this trend line here, and certainly close above that 50 RSI point sooner rather than later. And it looks like, based on the move so far this month, that we may just do that. We're at 49.16. We've got a couple more days in the month. I'd be very interested to see this particular ETF close above the 50 RSI mark on the monthly. So here's the weekly perspective, and this is a long-term cup and handle. And while we broke below it, this was a fake breakdown, and we found support here around that 38 RSI level, which is the Fibonacci retracement, and now we're starting to rally. So let's see what happens. Can we build enough strength and momentum to break above the 50 and 200 week moving averages that we broke below? But positive momentum here and trajectory going on the PPO. Now, as far as the companies, the various stocks in the sector, I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to point out those that are actually performing well, or at least setting up to really do well. So here's Untitled Energy, and this is one that is in an upward trajectory here, and we had a pullback. We had a nice rally from 20 all the way to 26. We pulled back here, broke below this barrier support as we did here last time around, found support at 1750, the same area that we bounced from last time around, but momentum is stronger this time around than last time around, and that's very important to point out. And we're just building strength, and I think eventually this breaks higher, and as the sector turns, so will this company, and the share price will go dramatically higher. Apia Energy, this one had a really nice run. Without having done any fundamentals on this particular name, it sounds like they have some exposure to the rare earth metals, and the entire sector there took off on trade negotiation, I guess, challenges with rare earth. So beautiful rounded bottom here, and I think that this one really wants to take off and move much higher. So this is a really good opportunity to pick up some shares in Apia. Azincourt Uranium, this one, it had a nice rally initially out of this downtrend, but it's gotten pushed back lower. If this level can hold, it's going to be a double bottom with slight positive divergence, and that would be a very positive sign. But this level around 5 cents must hold for shares not to break lower. Blue Sky Uranium, another one that broke out of this wedge and had a really nice run, and now it's kind of retesting it from the upside. It kind of broke below it last to end the week. But you know, with these names, you can't look at these charts as you would with, let's say, Apple stock. But nonetheless, broke below it, and now let's see if it can find support around that 38 level of RSI and rally and and have a successful back test. Cameco, this was at $10 a share was an area that I pointed out would be fairly strong support, but it needs to recapture this 38 level. If it doesn't capture that level sooner rather than later, it will break down. But I will point out that here is the last time we rallied in momentum, and we're at the exact same spot. In fact, I'll adjust that because momentum and resistance on RSI, support and resistance rather, are as important as, if not more important than, price. And that's where we broke down or found support last time. That's where I feel we're going to find support this time around, and we are here. And so 10 is a nice rounded number as well that we might see this happen. Canalaska Uranium, that one's breaking down right now, and so for those buying on fundamental reasons, you know, this could be a good opportunity. But from a technical standpoint, until it breaks above this barrier around 26 cents on the Canadian, there's no reason to to go long. DPLO here also broke down, but it's fine. Broke down around that 27 marker, but it's finding some support here, and it's looking to curl back above that 38 level. If it can move higher, that will be a very positive sign. It needs to break these downtrends both in momentum and price. Denison, there's nothing really to see until it breaks below 45 on the downside or 70 to the upside. 50 RSI has been serving as a very strong resistance. Encore Energy also, it's on the one hand it's creating this nice bullish wedge. So far it's found support on the 50, but the longer it hovers around that 50, the more likely it breaks lower, and if it breaks lower, they could possibly fall all the way back to that 10-cent level. But nonetheless, for the time being, it's still above a 50-week moving average that's crossed above the 200. That's double support here, and it just needs a strong move above 15 cents to really make new highs. Energy fuels. So this one's interesting. It's still in this rounded bottom handle, cup and handle here, and it broke out of this downtrend, and now it's retesting it multiple times from the upside. I still think that this presents a really nice risk-reward opportunity. 250 here, just below it, is a nice stop loss, and so this is a very nice entry point at 260. I would possibly put a stop loss around the 230, 240 area to avoid getting stopped out of it, but nonetheless, the upside is really nice, and the downside is limited to a couple percentage points. First, Vanadium Corp, this one's breaking down right now, so below 40 there's no reason to own it until it breaks above this downtrend. Fission 3.0, this is one that we continue to accumulate at these prices because the technical charts are suggesting that at some point that this is going to pop and pop hard. Even though it's creating new lows in price, momentum is not following suit. If you look at the various different time frames, this one's just setting up very nicely, and it seems like there's support around that 8-cent level, and it just needs to break above 10 cents for it to run certainly back to 13.5, and in our opinion much higher. Fission Uranium, this one is, on the one hand, it's got an inverse head and shoulders here, so it needs to hold this 49-cent area. It's still above that 38 RSI, can't really break above that 50 level, so it needs to either break above 57 cents and certainly this downtrend to start a new uptrend, or break below that, I'd say 45 area to really break to a new low here. Forces Metals, this one's very interesting. We like it. It's consolidating right below that 50 area. It's creating multiple back tests here, and so far successful back tests, and we think eventually it's going to break higher, but it needs to close above that 50 zone. So when uranium does break, this might be one of the stronger names in the space. Forum Energy, this one had a very nice breakout, but it's got a couple of shooting stars here over the last couple of weeks, and so there might be some more need for consolidation. But notice the breakout on very high volume. The last couple of weeks have seen declining volume, so at some point this is going to pop higher in our opinion, and it's going to see new highs. So we want to take opportunity to add in this area right over here. Global Atomic, another one that's consolidating above the pennant breakout, and as soon as that breaks above that 47 zone, that's our sign to go long for new highs. I think it's going to hit that 59-cent level at some point in the next couple of weeks, should the uranium sector have a balance at the minimum. Gold mining, which has a very nice uranium property, it's consolidating here. Obviously, the price action is not great. It's broken below the 38 RSI level, so that's not positive, but it's bounced so far off of this back test, and so long as it can hold this area, we think eventually it's going to break higher, but for the time being, obviously there's a lot of weakness there. WX Uranium, this one is a beautiful cup and handle. It looks like it wants to break out higher and make a new run towards a 21-cent level and higher thereafter. If it closed the week at $49.99, if it can break 50, this is going to be a really nice trigger to go long GVX. Greenland Minerals, this has been one of the better looking names in the sector. We might pull back, we might consolidate here for a while, below this 200-week moving average, but make no mistake, this is very, very bullish price action, and this one's going to hit 15-16 cents at some point this year, in my opinion. ISO Energy. This one is a great time to consider adding long. This 40 cent level was an area that we tagged as good support, and we think that this is where it's going to start creating a rounded bottom. And notice it coincides with this 38 level, which also was the last area of momentum support here. This is where we broke out from, and now it's acting as support. So now this is an area which you want to be starting to add your positions in. Laramide, so bad candle last week, without a doubt, and so this technical analysis is very challenging to do on this particular name. It just very, very volatile, but it does give you a perspective. It needs to break higher here above this trend line, above the 50 RSI, to recapture that momentum. Next Gen Energy, this one's breaking down, just like Cameco has been breaking down, so there's really nothing to see. This is bearish price action. It needs to break back above the 200-week moving average at about 159 to reestablish some momentum. Paladin Energy, I think eventually this is going to pop higher, and this is going to be a really nice move, but for the time being, it's just consolidating in this bullish momentum, bullish pattern here. Plateau Energy. Another one that's just similar to Fission, just it's got these dips and then breakouts, dips, breakouts. So this is one of these dips where I think you can take an opportunity to pick this one up cheap and watch it pop at some point on some fundamental news. But this is an area that it needs to break above and soon. PurePoint Uranium had a very nice hammer pattern. There's some support here around the 6 to 7.5 cent area. It needs to really rally back above the 50 and the 200-week moving averages, and eventually I think it breaks 10 cents and moves much higher, but it needs to close above that 50 RSI point. Sky Harbor, it's consolidating. Even though the price is moving lower, it's still consolidating. Momentum is not moving lower. I like the risk reward here around that 32 cent level. I think eventually it's going to hit 55, if not much higher this year. Texas Mineral Resources, another one of these that's tied to rare earth, so it's done really well this week after some weird candles, so probably some shakeouts, but ultimately this chart looks like it's building momentum for a break above that 30 cent zone and then moving higher thereafter. UEX Corp, one of the better looking names. It's consolidated, broke out of this bull flag here, pulled back a little. It needs to close and above that 50 RSI on the weekly. Probably coincides with the move above that 18 cent zone. I think it's going to hit 40 cents this year at a minimum. Your Energy, nice pullback. It's still above that 80 cent zone, still above the 50 RSI. From my standpoint, this is a bullish pullback and a great time to consider adding to a long position. Uranium Energy Corp, another one here that's, let me just adjust that here. This is a back test right here. Even though it closed below the 50 RSI, it looks like it's back testing and successfully so far. It needs to break out above this bullish flag to move higher towards that 190 price target. And then finally on this list is Western Uranium. It's consolidating here in this bullish flag that eventually breaks higher. In my opinion, this 38 level has acted as very strong support in times past, and even though price has been moving lower, notice that momentum has not been breaking to new lows, and that's very, very important as PPO continues to curl towards a break above zero. Guys, that's it overall. My overall assessment of the uranium space is that the consolidation is very likely coming to an end, and these are great opportunities to add to names in the sector. Now, I will say my biggest concern is what's happening with the overall market. I think we're approaching, we might see a bounce in the next coming weeks, but I think we're approaching a potential recession in the next 3 to 6 months, and I'm not sure how uranium is going to play out under those circumstances. On the one hand, who's buying uranium? These are utility companies. People need energy whether there's a recession or not. But on the other hand, recessions impact companies, especially those that need to finance future operations. So it's going to be interesting to watch. But bottom line is it's going to create a lot of opportunities, whether or not uranium price breaks out to the upside or stays stagnant for a little while longer. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like my work and want to see more of these videos, please shoot me a note at Dave@Moneyology and let us know that you're interested in our premium service that's set to launch in July. And we're going to see a lot more of these videos and really some awesome content that we're building. I look forward to sharing that with you in the not too distant future. We've got 100 spots available. So far 45 have been filled, and if you want to be one of those remaining 55, shoot us a note. Have a great week.